All right, guys, it's Don and Sean again. We're going to talk about everyone's main goal here, I feel like, is to get a muscle up. Everyone walks in the door and is like, I'll never get that, or one day I'll have that. A couple things here before we work on the ring muscle up here. If you're going to do this progression, you really have to have a good foundation first, right? So we need to see at least 6 strict pull-ups. You've got to have solid chest to bars out there. You've got to have 6 to 10 strict ring dips there before you start actually really working on that. If you have that underlying foundation, then we're ready to start working on the progression to get you above the rings, right? Remember to muscle up, hanging below the rings, all the way above the rings there. The key to this is going to be getting comfortable with the false grip. And the false grip is kind of not that comfortable when you first start there. So what is a false grip? If we have this ring hanging here, you think about bringing your wrist all the way up. From there we rotate where that pad of the low hand is on that ring, and we grip it. So you can see if I'm hanging, my palm is actually hanging down from me there. But what happens is as we pull up, it actually pulls us higher than the bar or the rings. It brings us right into that right dip position.
So for the muscle up progression, we're going to split it up into 3 pieces, which really helped me to get my muscle up. It took me about 6 to 8 weeks of dedicated practice with this exact progression, and it got me on top of the rings. First thing that I learned right off the bat was that it was really helpful when I'm spending this much time on the rings practicing is to tape the wrist. You want to throw that to me?
It's empty.
No. But anyway, your basic athletic tape, but I would just tape, you know, 1 or 2 strips right across that pad where the false grip is hanging. I tore right away that first week when I didn't tape, so the tape is really crucial. Also, chalk. I end up chalking a lot through the pad here. If you're spending a half an hour on the rings, it's going to be super helpful. The first thing to learn is what we call these hollow body swings on the rings. And in the beginning, when you're still working on that false grip, it's going to be hard to stay in that grip. So you're going to get a couple swings and then you'll fall out and then you'll need to reset. But eventually, after a couple weeks, you'll find that you'll be able to stay in that false grip in that swing for 10 swings. So what that looks like when you're hanging in the false grip is everything's together, feet are together, legs are together, arms are fully extended, and you just want to start with those swings, keeping everything locked, especially in the back. Try not to break at the knees. Working to get those hips higher and higher in the front. Okay, 3 rounds of 10 hollow body swings. Okay, the other 2 pieces of this progression work off of the rings and off of the ground. These are called box humps. Sorry about the name. But you're going to set your rings up to the height for you so that you can sit on the ground and still be in that false grip with straight arms. Okay? You're going to have a 12-inch box in front of you. You're going to space it out in front of you so that your legs are straight. You want to be arms extended here into this position. I'm going to spot the rings, and from there I just want to drive the hips up. So I'm going to push the box away with my heels, and you want to get that floating feeling so you're not pulling so much as you're driving with the hips. Okay, 3 rounds of 10. Okay, the third part of the progression, these are called banded seated sit-throughs. Of the 3, I found this to be the most beneficial because the piece of the muscle up that took me the longest was that transition, that sit-through. And this focuses exactly on that piece of it. So what you have here, before I get into it, is you're just going to use a band. The red band is the best because it's the right stretchiness. As you get stronger with this, you can get to a smaller band, working your way down to a purple. If you're down to the yellow band, most likely you can do a muscle up and you don't need the band anymore. But you're going to just hook it on one side. I use my weaker side. Then you're going to bring it around through the other ring. Give yourself a little bit of extra here in the beginning when you're learning and it's harder. You can choke it up if you need to. But from there, you're just going to get up in that band, under your butt, Then lower yourself all the way to the ground. So you'll have to mess with the height here. It's going to depend on how tall you are and how much you weigh, but you want to get your butt to the ground and get as fully extended as you can in those arms in the false grip. All of these, you should always be in the false grip. So from here, without using my legs, I want to use that hip drive and I want to pull up my hips up to the rings. Okay, so everything's tight, my legs are tight, quads are flexed. I'm going to pull up and then sit all the way up. So do that again a couple times. Legs are straight and locked, tight core really tight. I want to pull nice and slow, and then once I get up to the top of the rings there and the rings are to my chest, I'm going to drive through really quick into that sit-up. So it's slow, 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 explode, and then dip out of it. And then hopefully you're going to put all those pieces together, get yourself a muscle up eventually. Pachow!